Hello, my name is Kevin. I'll be talking about real estate in Canada and across the United States. And we've been hearing that it's been referred to as a crash by some of the so-called experts in real estate. But I'm here to assure you that we're not looking at something as bad as they portray it. Real estate, for those who are new to the industry or new home buyers or have been in the owning homes or interested in real estate over the last few years, or even the last 5 to 10 years, have probably not been aware that in recent memory, real estate prices have escalated quite substantially. And my example today will show you where a house that I purchased in High Park many years ago went in value from $75,000 to $1.8 million. Now, over that time, there have been a number of slight drops in real estate, which every time they come around, people refer to as a crash. Well, they're not crashes, they're corrections, and they're not unexpected. When they appear maybe unexpected, and I'll show you an instance of that today, but in general, you have to be aware that prices go up markedly, but they can come down quite suddenly to a certain extent. But in the long term, real estate is an excellent investment, and I encourage you to take a look at it if you're in that market. So I'm here to encourage you not to panic. Again, real estate prices go up and down. In the long term, they go up. So people who are panicking now, when so-called experts are saying, the prices are crashing and they've never been this low in X number of years, are basically misleading you to a large extent. And my example will show you why. Now, in 1985, which I admit is quite a while ago, I purchased a house in High Park in Toronto for $75,000. Now, for those who have been around for a while, even in 1985, $75,000 was quite a low price. And the broker I was working with happened to be a good friend of mine, Dimitri. I was actually renting one of his apartments. And I asked him, I said, if I find a house in the High Park area for $75,000 or $80,000, can you help me purchase it? He says, oh yeah, I can help you purchase it. I can do that quite quickly, but you'll never find a house less than $125,000 in High Park. So High Park is a fairly not exclusive area, but it is a little pricey. But the house I was buying or looking at was quite small, about 1,200 square feet, and quite a bit less than what was to sell in High Park, but at the same time representative of the prices or the values of property in the GTA. Now, for those who aren't in the Toronto area, GTA refers to Greater Toronto Area. So I bought the house for $75,000. I looked through his listing books. In those days, they were books and not online, MLS online, and eventually found the property myself. And within a day of finding it, I went with my broker Dimitri, put an offer on it. It was originally listed for $80,000, and I got it for $75,000 on the first offer. And over the next 5 years, the house went in value from $75,000 to roughly $300,000, which was 2.25 times the purchase price. Now, admittedly, during that time, I put in about $50,000 into renovations, put in a new roof, new kitchen, lowered the basement floor by about 6 or 8 inches to make it a luxury living space. But the real estate market was improving quite markedly, so it went up in value to about $300,000 over that time. I indicated it's about 2.25 the purchase price because I included some of the renovations in the actual purchase price. Now, as always happens, real estate values go up, but they also go down. And between 1990 and 1991, the real estate market dropped significantly, or for our purposes, I would say it's not significant in the sense that it dropped, yes, between 20 and 25%, and eventually the house sold for about $225,000, about a 25% drop. At the same time, I waited a year or so, and the house that I purchased north of Toronto was a much nicer house, quite a bit larger, and for $10,000 more, I was able to buy another house. So, in fact, I didn't really lose as far as the equity in the house went. Now, just before, by the time the pandemic hit in 2019, 2020, the real estate market over the years in the Toronto area and across Canada, actually in the U.S., improved quite markedly, and the house appreciated in value from about $225,000 to, in 2017, $1.3 million, which is 17.3 times the purchase price. And by 2019, just before the pandemic, was $1,500,000, 20 times the purchase price. So you can see where we're going here. Even though there was a drop between 1990 and after 1990 to 1991 down to 225,000, by 2019 it was 20 times the purchase price at 1.5 million. Now, during the pandemic, the so-called experts expected the real estate values to just plummet because of loss of jobs and general downturn in the economy. But quite frankly, just the opposite happened. Most people couldn't go out and spend their money. The saving rates across Canada and the U.S. Jumped up to a very high rate. People weren't able to go to restaurants. They weren't able to travel. They weren't able to go to theaters or shows or bars. So the saving rates went way up, and people put their money into real estate for the reason that they had the cash, and also because they were looking for bigger properties. There's more stay-at-home orders and so on, so people were looking for more living space for their families. Now, so during the pandemic surge, the house went up in value to approximately $1,800,000. And these are just rough estimates, but it was about 24 times the purchase price. But after the pandemic, interest rates rose quite quickly because the government was needing to reduce inflation. And we're all aware of what the inflation rates are: 6, 7, 8% in Canada, and Europe was quite a bit higher, 10, 11%. Similar to, and U.S. is similar to Canada. So the value of the houses dropped a bit. So over the 6 or 8 months leading up to the beginning of 2023, the house dropped in value to probably $1,600,000. But if you look at the original purchase price of $75,000 at the top there, and the final price at value at $1,600,000 in 2023, you can see that the real estate is by an excellent investment. It's gone up almost 22 times the value that it was purchased for, even with downturns of 20-25%. So what I'm point here is if you are, and I'll go on to the next slide here. If you don't worry about short-term price evaluation drops, the real estate prices in the long term always go up. There are blips where they go down. They could go down 15 or 20%, but that's not a crisis. It's not what I call a crash. The end result here is that the property that we're referring to in this example was still 20 or 22 times the value of the original purchase price, even with a current downturn in the market. Now, from what I understand, there may be additional downturns over 2023 between 5 and 5.5%. That's the forecast is. But again, that wouldn't make a huge difference with respect to the overall increase in value of the property over the many years it was owned. So the second thing I want you to bring away from this presentation is that when you're buying a house, don't overextend yourself. Don't buy the most expensive house you can afford, because if you do that, you will be in a situation where you are what's called house poor, in the sense that you're spending every last dime you have from your income, paying the mortgage, paying utilities, paying for unforeseen repairs on the house. and you just don't have enough money for the for things that you need or you should have to enjoy your life. Basically, you know, going to shows, going to theaters, restaurants, traveling a bit, buying braces for your children, those luxuries that you should have some extra disposable income for. So it's a matter of quality of life. Don't buy the most expensive house you can get. And I may be in error here by calling people greedy who do that. People are trying to maximize their investments so they have a secure future. So there's nothing really wrong with that. But what I'm referring to is this. If you can buy a $1 million house and you can afford it, that's fine. But if you're buying a $1 million house just for the sake that of it's going to increase, you know, 10% over the next 2 or 3 years, you'll make $100,000 on it. If you're buying a $500,000 house, you'll make $50,000 on half that amount. So, but be reasonable in the sense that don't buy the most expensive house you can buy. Instead of a $1 million house, buy a $750,000 house and have the extra money left over for unforeseen circumstances and to basically enjoy your life. Again, this is one thing that I brought up earlier, and I just want to emphasize it. If you must sell your house at a reduced price, don't be too concerned about it, because the house you buy to replace it with will also be at a reduced price. So in a sense, you haven't lost anything. When the house, when the real estate market improves, the house will go up in value, and you'll be just fine. If I haven't mentioned it to this point, thank you for taking the time to view our video. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you are interested in additional videos from us, please hit the notification button as well. In addition to videos concerning real estate, personal finances, investments, and so on, we'll be posting a series of videos related to day trading. Now, I may have mentioned it earlier, but my new career after having retired, so to speak, is to trade in stocks and basically day trading. And over the year or so that I've been doing this, in recent months especially, I've picked up an awful lot of pointers that would be invaluable for the person who is just entering the day trade career. Entering day trading as a career can be very rewarding, both it's challenging and also can be very financially rewarding, but there are many pitfalls that I've come across and learned the hard way that you need to avoid if you're going to be successful. Now, unfortunately, most of the YouTube videos that are posted so far deal with aspects of trading, such as how to read charts and stock values and all sorts of, you know, purchase price versus whatever ratios and so on. Very technical things that are of value when you get into day trading. But for the newcomer to the industry, there are a lot of technical aspects you have to know that will save you an awful lot of time and certainly an awful lot of money if you are aware of these. So I'll have a series of 5 or 6 different videos covering about 20 to 25 points that you must know before you really get into trading. It'll begin with how to set up a day trading account, which is not difficult, but it is technically, has to be technically exact. And we'll cover things such as how to exchange Canadian dollars for US dollars, because most of the trades that you'll be doing, 90-95% of the trades, will be on the New York Stock Exchange, and that will be in American dollars. So I will show you how to trade Canadian dollars for US dollars without paying a 2.5% exchange rate. So basically, when you change to the US dollars, you have to pay 2.5% commission to the banks or the company that exchanges your money. That's including that's in addition to the exchange rate of 1.3, I guess it is, US dollar versus Canadian dollar. And that alone can save you tens of thousands of dollars over the next year or two. So I'll be covering that, as well as numerous other aspects of trading that you must know before you get into the live trading and risk funds that you may or may not be able to lose. And we'll cover that aspect of it as well. So thank you again for your time, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.